Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah. So, Heatherm.
Hello.
Okay. I guess now it's our turn. So it's a little bit interesting to have this kind of virtual techathon for the first time. So hello everyone. Hope you enjoyed the videos we just played a couple of minutes ago. So my name is Paul Wang. I'm the senior manager of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, which is also one of the co-organizing universities in this Hong Kong Techathon. And today we have the honor to have actually a legend in our startup community to be with us. I think the serious part has already been done. The videos has been played. And then now we can have some fun time to really draw some good lessons from Heatherm, and who is going to be our guest speaker for the next couple of minutes. I think we are going to have until 3 o'clock. So that's close to 45 minutes. To kickstart this part, I'd like to give a brief introduction about Heatherm. Heatherm is a very interesting figure with a lot of interesting stories to share. So in the next session, we're going to have a lot of questions grilling him about his journey from techathon style. It's basically a startup weekend until he made to the Silicon Valley and to the current status. So when I first met him in 2013, he told me that he was presenting to us, and that he said the email hasn't been progressing since it's been invented, so he wanted to redefine it. So my friend and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So, but he showed his a demo, just only with some graphics design in the iPad. And after a few minutes, we are quite convinced that he could really pull the trigger of redefining emails. So soon after that, he raised about 1.5 million Hong Kong dollars before he even have a prototype. So, and he flew to the Silicon Valley and started his own startup with support from one of the most famous investors, angel investors in China, Xu Xiaoping. So that was when the legend started. So without further ado, I'd like to have him to start sharing his stories. And I hope you all can join us. If you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to post it through the Q&A function of the Zoom. And we're going to, if possible, we can answer you just lively. And also, if you want to have some interesting questions afterwards, that's also okay, because we're going to have a very short Q&A session after our dialogue. So the following session is going to be conducted like a freestyle file-side chat. So just please feel free to join us and posing questions. So hope we can have some fun. Okay. Heatherm, yeah, so I'd like to have you, even though I told a little bit about your story, but I believe that the audience would like to hear it more about your journey, especially how you started from some startup weekend event and eventually made to Silicon Valley. And I believe everybody wants to know the story. Could you tell us?
Sure, yes. Thank you so much, Paul, for inviting me to the event. Yeah, so it is my honor today to share some stories about my startup journey. Yeah, so I don't think I'm a very successful startup entrepreneur yet, but I do have very rich experience of starting up companies in the past 12 years. yeah, also in like different like regions, yes, and cities. Yeah, so yes, it is my honor today to share with you, yes, some of my stories, and I believe some of the lesson learned can also, yes, I hope some of the lesson learned can also to help you like all the way through your own like startup journey. Yeah. So basically, yes, my name is Heatherm Huang. I'm a 12-year like serial entrepreneur. So I'm a co-founder of MailTime and Measurable AI. Yes, those are my current companies, and I'm also a current student of Doctor of FinTech. Yes, at PolyU. In 2008. So I start my first startup company when I was still like final year student, in college. Yeah, so basically I start my first startup called like John Daily. It was like a viral video maker like company. So it's more like a YouTuber now, but back in like 2008 to 2010, it was, so basically it was pretty new like concept. And then we make a new like animated like viral video like a day. And then it was pretty popular like in China and also in some like and also, it was very popular in China and also among the Chinese communities in Southeast Asia. So basically there were like 2 million people watch our like video program like every day. And in 2011, when I finished my master's degree at PolyU, so basically I joined with a Hong Kong-based startup called like Talkbox. It was the first push to talk like messaging app on smartphone. So basically right now you may use some like messaging apps like WeChat, like WhatsApp, they all come with a push to talk feature, but we were the first like company to launch that functionality in 2011. And after that, in 2014, so basically after after I left like Talkbox, I joined Star Weekend in Hong Kong, and then I decided to start a new company. It's called MailTime, and then we start after we raised the first round of angel funding, my co-founder and I, we decided to like move the team to San Francisco. And currently we back to Hong Kong and also working on a big data company called Measurable AI, which also has a link to the previous like MailTime project. So in 2013, I joined a 2-day event called Star Weekend in Hong Kong. It was, so basically during the Star Weekend in 2017, and then we formed, so it is pretty similar to the setting of hackathon and also like other type of like hackathon kind of events. So so we formed a team, there, and then and then we come out with some like ideas and of startups, and I always have some ideas about how we can like disrupt how we can like disrupt the like traditional like email kind of experience. Then we start so during the Star Weekend we come out with the idea of how we can make emails as easy as text messaging, and then we won the best mobile app award at the Star Weekend in 2013 in Hong Kong, and that's how our journey like start. And then so basically after Star Weekend, we also so basically I really like spend time on I really spend time working on this idea, and then to eventually to come out with the app.
Yeah, so that's that you are currently showing the interface that I saw that when we first met, right? That's the MailTime app.
Yes, I believe when we first met, I haven't have an app yet.
Yeah, you just show us some iPads.
Yeah, so I show you some drawings I do on my notebook.
Yeah,
as well.
Very impressive. And how does this particular startup weekend facilitate your startup business? Did you meet some co-founders, or how did you really help? Did you get the idea just exactly on site in that startup weekend, or you had some idea before, but then you met some guy, you got some better improvement on that? How did that really happen?
Okay, so basically, so like before startup weekend, I do have an idea about the current email system on the mobile phone. It sucks, and then we want to do something about it. But I but I do not have any more like clues or any more ideas, like concrete ideas about how we can improve it. Yeah. So on the day of team formation at startup weekend, so I actually met with other guys, other participants. They also have passion to redefine the emails. Yeah. So and then so during the 2-day event at the startup weekend, then we start to exchange ideas, and we start to do some so we start to do some prototypes on paper and on computers, and then eventually come out with the idea.
So how did you recruit them? You have some idea, you wanted to do something about it, right? But there are so many people in the room, and how did you really find out who is interested? So you just walk on the stage, or what did you do?
So basically, during the day during the first night at the startup weekend, each of us, we can so we will have 30 minutes to introduce ourselves. In front of everyone.
So that's like an open mic, right?
Yeah. So basically, during that session, we can
cool.
We can network, and we can recruit people with the similar ideas, with the similar and also it is also very important to recruit people with different skill sets, right? So basically, some people they may good at design or just programming, or how to how to branding each. So yeah.
So for the audience who are watching this, just make sure, because in the old days, last year we had some open mic sessions, so that you can recruit your team members or meet some people who can eventually become your team members. For this year, we are going to have mixer sessions after 3 o'clock. So of course, a pre-registration is required, but you are also welcome to get connected. There is a in the official website, there is some kind of social linkage, so you can sign in, and hopefully you can find somebody who eventually can become your future partners, right? So Heatherm, we have here I have a new question, because I knew that your startup journey wasn't really so glorious all the way. Eventually, you also encountered some setbacks. Your first project was not really a success, as you mentioned, the talk box actually, and the story. But your story was made into a TV series. It was called The Entrepreneur Age, right? 创业时代. It's like a 80 episode TV series, quite popular in Chinese mainland. So can you show us about that project and your journey of this failed project, but eventually built in to your success today?
Sure. So basically, in 2011, so basically we designed push to talk messaging style, push to talk app, messaging app. In addition of WhatsApp, you need to type all the characters, and then it is also very difficult to teach your mom and dad during the 2011 or 2010. Yeah, so basically like, yes, it was the setting of like smartphones start to go mainstream. And then like there was an app for WhatsApp become like very popular because you do not need to pay for like sending a text message, right?
Yes.
But yeah, and at the time you also maybe to buy a new like smartphone, yes, for your moms and dads, right? But I found it is very difficult to teach them to type the Chinese characters and send you a message, right? So then we come up with ideas how, so what if we can, we can let them to send the, to send the message as easy as to speak it, right? So then we come up with this like walkie-talkie style push to talk, like, its appearance. And then when we launched in 2011, it suddenly became a very popular like messaging app in China and also some regions in Southeast Asia. So basically it was like the #1 like social networking app for a period of time in China and also in like Malaysia and Taiwan for a while. And then like all these tech giants, including like Tencent or including like all other guys, they approach us, they want to like invest or either to acquire a company, but end up it doesn't like went well. And until like 5 months after we launched the Talkbox app, like Tencent, like WeChat, they launched their 2.0 version of WeChat, which adds this like push to talk like functionality in their WeChat app, and suddenly they become a very popular like messaging app. And then and then our ranking start to like decline. And then like so it end up wasn't a successful story, but the stories and ideas. So we've been talking like all about these things for like for a long time. And then there was one day I met with a novel like author, and he decided to turn this story into a novel, which is called Entrepreneurial AI, 创业 style, as Paul mentioned. That novel was eventually like published in like 2015, and the copyrights of the novel were also like acquired by like Chinese like TV drama like producers. And then it also turned into like TV drama, and which was aired in 2018.
Cool. That's an impressive story. And I guess that part of the lesson learned should be that you should have sold your company to Tencent, right?
It was complicated, right? So when you were working on startup projects, there will always be like
you never know. You never know.
You never know. Yes.
And your next project, MailTime, actually brought you from the startup weekend to eventually the Silicon Valley, and you launched that in the TechCrunch Disruptor Startup Battlefield, San Francisco, right? So that was like, I guess, were you the first team that from Hong Kong that launched your product in this battlefield?
So we learned about this like TechCrunch Star Battlefield actually through like TV drama called Silicon Valley.
Okay, TV drama does help, right? So guys watch a lot about this.
So basically, in early 2014, there was a TV drama called Silicon Valley by HBO, which featured like startup like story called like Piper. And then at the end of the season 1, so at the end of the season 1, that company in a TV drama called Piper, they have been they successfully to enter the like TechCrunch Star Battlefield, and then they were the winner of the competition. And after winning the Star Battlefield, so like in the story, they raised a lot of money, and then they have been like very popular stars in Silicon Valley. So we stopped, and then we did some like Google search and found it is actually a real event, and we think we need to go there, right? So and then after we watched this like TV drama, we also submit our like applications, and after like 2 rounds of interview, we had been like selected, and so we've been like selected to join the TechCrunch Star Battlefield in 2014, which was like 3 months after the TV show. It was very happy for us. And then so basically at the time our team still in Hong Kong, and then
you guys flew there, right?
Yes, we flew there, and then after the TechCrunch, we got tons of like media exposures, and also we have a lot of like investment interest from like top like VCs in Silicon Valley as well. And then and then also as Paul mentioned, one of our like early like angel investor was Xu Xiaoping, was the like #1 angel from China, and then he like encouraged us to like stay in Silicon Valley instead of like going back to Hong Kong. So basically after that we decide, so like after the TechCrunch, we got a lot of like media exposures, and also so we're being like approached by like many like VCs, investors, and then we also decide to stay in San Francisco. And then there was actually a Chinese Chinese business magazine called CBN Weekly. They actually feature us as
a story,
as like how like Chinese like entrepreneur like startup founders, and then to start a business in Silicon Valley. And this was actually our first and second like office in Silicon Valley. So basically our first
office.
Our first office, it was actually on the 2nd floor of a body shop. So it was really like Silicon Valley style. And then our second office is bigger, but it was a garage. And then we turned it into an like artistic kind of like office.
That was
very cool as well.
So because our Techathon participants is eventually will pitch their ideas to a panel to compete for the awards or prize. So I guess you had plenty of pitching experience. Do you have any advice for them so that in such a short period of time they can just make their ideas stand out?
Sure. So as I learned from the previous videos, so as I learned from the previous like introduction videos, by Texon, so I learned it will be a 5 minutes. It will be a 5 minutes like presentation, right? It is a very short this presentation, and also each team can only submit like 5 pages of slides, right? So which is pretty similar to the YC, to the Y Combinator's like pitch to like demo day setting. So basically when we were like pitching at Y Combinator, it was like 3 minutes. It's even like shorter. It was like 3 minutes like pitch like to the audience.
Wow.
And then so during that 5 or 3 or even shorter time, you can't actually like tell all your stories. How do you come up with all these ideas? How do you how do you put all this together in like 5 minutes, right? So it's very important. And especially like as I learned from the Texon, there are around 200 teams actually in in this year's like event, right? It will be very competitive. So yeah, so the judges and the audience, they cannot remember each one of you, even you make a full 5 minutes presentation, right? Yeah. So I think so when we were at YC, it was, so basically the guidance was that in your presentation, you need to be very clear about one thing. That one thing is that can make people to remember you. Okay, so and also with the YC's like mentor, which is called the make something people want, right? So it is very simple in your presentation and all of your start journey. You need to remember this: make something people want. It actually can be divided into two parts, like make something and people want, right? So in the first part, like make something, which you need to have the required like technologies and then also the people with experience to build it, right? And then so basically, so make something isn't wasn't the hard part. It's the most difficult thing the startups face like people want, right? So how do you make something people want? So you need to like really understand the market. You need to really understand the users like needs, their demands. So just focus on like make something people want in your presentation and all of your like start journey, right?
Yeah,
so
good.
So your presentation, your product, and like everything you do should be approved or should be should be an evidence of you are making something people want.
Okay, great. That's a very valid piece of advice. Basically, it's you need to tell people what the thing you're trying to make or offer, and then you also need to convince the judge that everybody would want that thing, or your customers will want that thing, right? So,
and also, as I mentioned, because the presentation setting, it is pretty similar to the YC setting, right? So you may want to go to the YC's website. There is a section called Start Library. Okay, so basically, in the Start like library session, you can just type the keyword like pitch or maybe like deck. So basically you can find all these information, like what you need to be like include in your presentation for any type of presentations. Yes, they can be an elevator pitch for 30 minutes. They can be a like elevator pitch for like 30 seconds. It can be it can be a demo day pitch for 5 minutes, and it can be a like full like investor pitch for like 20 or 30 minutes, right? So you need to be prepared for different kind of So I see people ask where I can find it and how to type it. So basically, you just go to ycombinator.com. Okay, so there's a section called Start Library.
Yes, I also saw that. I wanted just to mention that. In the chat box. Okay, so, all right. I think we need to speed up a little bit because we have only less than 15 minutes and still have a couple of questions. I know that in 2016, your team entered Y Combinator. Actually, I know that you took some, even discount in your evaluation and you entered Y Combinator. And so that was regarded usually as one of the best incubators in the world, of course. And what was it like in Y Combinator? So how was it, functioning, and what was your biggest learning in that period of time?
Okay, so Y Combinator was as Paul mentioned, was the #1 like startup like accelerator in the world. So it is kind of like elite school for startup like founders, right? So it comes with a very low like acceptance rate. So when we were applying, so basically we actually submit we actually submit our like application for 3 times, and
Okay.
we
Wow.
finally got in at the final. Yes, at the final time, it was around 2016, and yeah, and then at our batch there was 8,000 companies apply, and 480 companies end up with an interview, and and then after the interview, there were 120 companies to actually
Okay. Yeah.
a Y Combinator. So there were actually around 8 to 10 startups from Hong Kong joined the Y Combinator in the past like 10 years, which was YC also has a very good like alumni like network, yes, in Hong Kong. Yeah. And so basically how the Y Combinator looks like. So basically it wasn't a full-time like program that you need to be there every day. So basically we meet with each other like on every Tuesday. Yeah. So basically like another Tuesday, you will need to share your progress of what you do in the past 2 weeks, right? So basically when you join YC, they will ask you to come out with one single metric that can track your growth of the company, right? So basically each company can pick like different like metrics. Yeah, like some companies, they can be like revenue growth. Some company can be like app downloads, right? Some company can be like retention rate, yes, for the users, or yeah, so basically each company will need to find, so basically this is actually a very important like methodology, like all of you should learn, which is that when you have your product like ready, right? You need to pick one single metric. Yeah, it can be the growth of the like revenue, it could be like download number, whatever. So just pick one, and then every 2 weeks, you like review the number, right? So basically, when you report your progress, you review that number. See is your company's like doing like well in the right direction, right? So yeah, so basically that's pretty much YC. So basically every another Tuesday we meet with each other to share the progress of the company in the past 2 weeks. And then after 3 months of the program, each company, if your company keep growing like maybe 10 or 20% every 2 weeks, by the end of the program, before the demo day, you will have a very beautiful graph. Like, so you will have a very beautiful graph. But if you couldn't have that, if you couldn't reach a very beautiful graph of growing, which means you may have some like issues, some problems with your, either you are not making something people want, right? So
that's a very, very important message to those who wanted to start a business. So if you're just trying to escape KPI from your current job, do not come to the startup world, because in the startup world we still have KPI and it's more harsh. That's an interesting message. And because we only have about 9 minutes left, so I need to cut short for the last question. So how is your latest venture? I know that you moved back to Hong Kong after 2018, I guess. That was because of Trump, right? So how did you guys actually pivot to a data platform and eventually sort of like Measurable AI? It's a fintech domain. So how are you doing?
So basically, in the like beginning of my sharing, I mentioned that we make an email app that sends your emails as text messaging format. So you can send a message to your friends where email. It is like the WhatsApp for email, right? So after 3 years of operating, we got like 1 million users, and we've been just reaching some like partnerships with smartphone makers to preload the app as well. But we couldn't figure out a way to monetize. We couldn't make money from the email app, right? That's the issue many startups will face, right? And then during our days at YC, we met with a number of YC alumni companies and also the YC partners. that we come up with an idea that if the users they couldn't pay for a free email app, there may be some like valuable information or valuable like species models you can find with that, right? So yeah, so just for example, right now we are using Zoom, right? So like we are, especially like during the pandemic, like a lot of users just like switch their meetings, yes, their studies, like even the parties. Yeah, so yes, I saw like people, to host like DJ parties on Zoom as well. So and then during the pandemic, a lot of like meeting activities they convert to Zoom. And if you are a pay user for Zoom, when you make a payment to Zoom, you will actually get one of these like email receipt from Zoom. Say you specifically make a payment to Zoom, how much you pay, whatever, right? So what if we can aggregate like millions of users Zoom's receipt, and then we can like extract, we can pass those like transactional information like the order IDs, and also like total pricing, and then time series. And then after a series of like calculations, like modelings, and we can actually come out with the trends. And then we found during the pandemic, Zoom was actually like growing quickly, very crazy.
Exponentially, yes.
Yeah, and then we also compare our like result to their previous financial
reports, right?
Financial reports. We found it highly like correlated, but we can know the number 1 month before they release their financial reports. And then
that's a lot of money,
just in 2020 like Q3 when Zoom released their like quarterly like reports, and then their stock price went up like 40% on the day. And then we actually know this number like 4 weeks before. So basically you
made a lot of money out of that.
We are not investing ourselves, but but the measurable AIs like target clients, they are like financial institutions, yes, like hedge funds or like investment
definitely will.
So basically, in the beginning we couldn't find a way how to monetize the MailTime app, right? It is an app people love, they love to use, but they are not willing to pay for an email app. And then we found another like use case of leveraging those like email receipt data in an anonymized way to benefit the like financial industries.
Yeah, cool. That's a very interesting new business model you discovered. Yeah, I think because of the time, we need to probably stop the sharing here. And do you have any final piece of advice before we move to the Q&A session?
Just one thing. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the TV drama Silicon Valley, it is a very like inspiring story, and it is a really real story. Even it is a makeup story, but everything is
based on something that happened, right?
No, it's not. It's actually a makeup story, but everything is just exactly like what our everyday life looks like in Silicon Valley. Okay, so if you really want to start up a company,
watch the dramas, right?
This like Silicon Valley, and also there is a new TV drama called Startup, which is a K-drama. Okay, so it is recently aired on like Netflix. And actually in this startup TV drama, K-drama on Netflix, it actually featured a successful startup story started at a hackathon event. Okay, so which it is pretty similar to what we are like doing right now. It's the hackathon event, and then I believe you will all like enjoy these stories. And unlike other like tonight like Startup Weekend or Hackathon events. Right now we are at a 7 full day like hackathon event. So it is way longer and you have more time to think about and also to build something people want. So yeah, so I hope we can see.
Yeah, that's a very nice New Year wish, right?
Yeah, so actually I met with, so basically after I joined the Startup Weekend in Hong Kong in 2013, I actually joined like a number of Startup Weekend and Hackathon events in like different cities, and there was a very successful story. So this young guy called Guo Lei, so he started his company in Startup Weekend Shenzhen in 2013, like 1 month after the Hong Kong event. I also joined the Shenzhen one, and then he started his company at the Startup Weekend in Shenzhen in 2013, and then his company was eventually being acquired by ByteDance, which hotel for $300 million.
$300 million US. Wow, that's a lot of money.
In 2018, 5 years later. So there have been a lot of successful stories. Even in Hong Kong, there's another company called Aftership. So they are also doing like very well. They are also started the company in Startup Weekend as well.
That was. Okay, great. I think, yes, we're very close to the end of this session. And we have quite a number of questions, but without further time, Heatherm, do you mind sharing your contact, your email address, so that you can so this questions
so
whoever will ask questions can actually email you and seek you response. I think some are very interesting questions, but I guess we are running out of time for this particular session. And it's a pity that we cannot answer them mostly in live, but I hope you enjoy this discussion and eventually you can learn something out of this. And thank you all for watching this. And please email Heatherm. He's a very nice guy, and I'm sure that he's going to respond to you as much as possible. Okay, thank you. Heatherm, thank you again for your time, and thank you for joining us, and all the guys in front of the screen. Wish you a successful week, and we are looking forward to see you presentations and the final stage, and wish you can take this as a starting point and make your way to IPO as Heatherm wished. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Yes, I will try to answer those Q&A questions in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Heatherm. Bye-bye.